All right, let's go and read over some articles that were in Newsday today. Of course, I had to copy them because, Newsday. But plan to build new rail line for ash and debris hauling under review. So this is what I've been talking about here. They want to use the main line to haul trash out of New York, Long Island. That third track isn't just for more passenger trains; it's also for more freight trains. And I have mixed feelings about this because it does seem like the middle of the island is being singled out and the North Shore for all this stuff, while the South Shore doesn't have any freight at all. And that seems unfair. But at the same time, by hauling this kind of stuff off by rail is the most efficient way to do it. You don't want to have trucks. So I'm going to read this article to you here. It says a proposed rendering of a rail spur and waste transfer in Kings Park. So there's another idea in Kings Park now. So it says here, before Long Island's biggest landfill closes, Kings Park businessman Toby Carlson is seeking federal approval for a rail spur to haul incinerator ash and construction debris from his waste transfer facility in the Hamlet's industrial area to the Midwest. Carlson envisions 5,000 feet of new rail on 82 acres he controls near Town Line and Pulaski Road. So let's take a look at this on the map, Town Line and Pulaski Roads here in Kings Park. So it's Pulaski Road and Town Line Road. So it's this area here, which is kind of an industrial area already. You can see they're storing cars here. It's nothing that's environmentally sensitive at all here. And so you would have the freight trains coming from this area here. So let's go back to the article here. So the rail branch would branch off the Long Island Railroad's Port Jefferson line and terminate at a planned 100,000 square foot transfer building. Working with the freight line, New York and Atlantic, Carlson would run a 15 to 20 car train to that building on weeknights. Inbound trains would carry aggregate, lumber, and automobiles for local distribution. So, that makes sense because it's more efficient to transport this by rail than by truck. We know that already, and it's tremendously more efficient. Departing trains would carry sealed containers with up to 1,500 tons of ash from the incinerator at the waste-to-energy plant at Covanta's nearby Huntington Resource Recovery Facility and other material from his Carlson Corp. Transfer facility. The proposal, laid out in documents submitted in a federal freight rail regulator, comes ahead of the scheduled 2024 closing of the Brookhaven landfill in Yaphank, which accepts more than 1 million tons of ash and construction debris yearly. Hauling that waste off island by road alone would mean thousands of new truck trips, worsening air pollution and drive times, which, it would be a terrible idea to do that by truck. Trucks already haul hundreds of thousands of tons of waste directly off island, negotiating bottlenecks and tolls at New York City's bridges. We will have a crisis, and we need all avenues available, Carlson told Newsday. A spokesman for a Surface Transport Board did not comment. Smithtown Supervisor Edward Wertheim said the spur, which needs local and state approvals, would help remedy a problem for which government and industry leaders have offered no real concrete decisions. Covanta Huntington processes 341,000 tons of municipal waste yearly, with trucks making 20 runs per day to the Brookhaven landfill. So imagine all those trucks. The spur would replace those runs with one. I think they made one train, making the trip between the plant and the transfer facility. So I see. So the spur would replace those runs, making so they'd have to go through Hicksville and then somehow reverse to get to the Brookhaven landfill. I'm not sure how they would do that. Covanta Perkins, they're not going to the Brookhaven layer. They're going to be hauled off island. A Covanta spokesman said the company is continuing to explore sustainable solutions for handling the ash, but have not finalized plans after Brookhaven closes. LIRR is reviewing the proposal, an MTA spokesman said. So it says, elsewhere on Long Island, 5 waste-by-rail trans projects have been built or are in the approval process, said Will Flower, vice president of Winter Brothers, which has proposed the largest in Yaphank. There's no more effective way to ship freight than rail, Flower said, citing cost and greenhouse emissions cut by 75% versus truck hauling. David Tonjes, a Stony Brook University professor who studies waste management, Agreed, rail promises greater efficiency, but said it has its drawbacks. To move freight off Long Island, a train must stop in Brooklyn and barge across the harbor or run north to Albany's bridges. That's because we don't have a way to go directly, unfortunately, to New Jersey. We have to go across the Hell Gate. All right? It's the only way to get to the mainland off Long Island by freight. That's why we needed a freight tunnel, really. There are also issues of environmental justice for communities along the railroads, and that's the key right there, that the majority of these communities that are dealing with this are communities of color, community of mixed and diversity, while the whitest neighborhoods on the South Shore avoid all of it. That's where my problem is. Fort Salonga Association Civic President Keith McCartney said he's worried about the health risks from the ash in transit and train noise and fumes. Carlson and Wertheim said berms and engineering solutions would buffer a Kings Park neighborhood north of the facility. Adrienne Esposito, Citizens Campaign for the Environment Executive Director, said waste management should include waste reduction, but we need a viable option for ash disposal. A terminal in an already industrialized area is a reasonable option. It is. All right, so not against it. And you can see Covanta's right here. So this is the issue. They have to truck all the waste, the ash. This is a waste energy power plant, which is a very good thing. They have scrubbers. Very little. You don't smell anything by it. But there's ash left behind, and it has to be disposed of somehow. So it obviously makes a lot of sense to haul it out by train, which is going to be a lot more efficient than all these trucks on the road. So that I totally understand. That's one of them. And then I went over into the other videos that they want to build. They want to build more in Yaphank and Medford. Also, this is the one in Yaphank that they're already working on, I think, Brookhaven Rail Terminal. So, but nothing on the South Shore. Don't you think the South Shore should also have a facility? Somehow, why do they get away with not having a facility? And let's look at where the Brookhaven landfill is, all right? It's actually closer to the South Shore than it is to Yaphank, or maybe it's equidistant, all right? So here we have some junkyards right here where we could build a rail facility, all right? Montauk Highway is kind of in the way here, but the south side has available space, so why not have a spur here to haul out waste? Why not on the South Shore? Why not on the Montauk line? That's my problem. Why does the main line and the Port Jefferson line have to deal with the freight trains? Which is okay, I understand the need for the freight trains, but why are they not on the South Shore? That is my problem right there, and we all know why that is. It's because a certain demographic lives on the communities along the line, like Patchogue, Sayville, Blue Point, Oakdale, Islip, and then you go, Bayshore, and of course you got the precious West of Babylon segment where a lot of the really big stockbrokers live. Babylon, Massapequa, the whitest areas of Long Island here. Then, of course, they don't want to have freight trains going through. But I'm sorry. You're going to have to deal with, everybody is going to have to deal with this problem, all right? We need to, have more efficient. There's no reason why you can't have freight trains on the Babylon branch. None at all. So don't tell me that, all right? So everybody should have it, all right? If we are asked to have the freight, everybody should have it. Because, Brookhaven landfill is toward the South Shore. So if you're going to haul waste from this area, then isn't it make a little more sense to have it in this area here versus in Yaphank, which already has so many facilities in the works, yet nothing on the South Shore. That's my problem right there. So let's get to the next article on the environment here, and that is this: the drought. And this is what I mean, East End, which is another area that you have a lot of rich, snobby, white, preppy people. And again, I don't really talk about it too much, but this relates to the environment, so I'm going to talk about it. When it comes to relates to the environment, I'm going to talk about it. And we all know some people don't like that. Well, it's too bad. I can't completely avoid talking about people who are greedy. East End customers mostly ignoring pleas to cut water use. So here we go. A desperate plea by the Suffolk County Water Authority for the residents of 4 Easttown tents to refrain from non-essential water has been largely ignored. The Water Authority on August 2nd declared a Stage 1 water emergency for the towns of East Hampton, Shelter Island, Southampton, and Southold, urging customers to stop all irrigation between midnight and 7 a.m., halt non-essential water use, and reduce shower times to ensure there is sufficient water for firefighting and other emergency purposes. But Joe Pocorni, Deputy Chief Executive Officer Operations for the Suffolk County Water Authority said the request did little to change behavior. All right, we sent people out in the middle of the night to take a look and see who was watering their lawns and who was complying, and they said during a panel of municipal and private sector orderlies in Melville hosted by the LIA, our people came back and said it would be easier to tell us who was not watering their lawns. So there's a real problem. So again, people are just, they don't want to give up their lawns, and they want to water them anyway, and it's putting everybody at risk because they're being greedy in the Hamptons. A lot of them came out of the city, and there are more of them coming out of the city, and they don't have a clue as to how the environment works. So the Water Authority's announcement comes days after the state put Long Island and more than 20 other counties on drought watch. All right? Said the authorities sent targeted emails and robocalls to customers, but he said the message is not getting through. People are just so concerned with their lawns and don't want to see their plants die. We could plant pitch pines. They don't seem to have a problem with drought. Nassau County sprinkler ordinance prohibits the irrigation of residential and commercial properties between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. while following an odd-even split for which days that can water their lawns. Paul Granger, superintendent of the Hicksville Water Department, said the system works to a point. You have people from New York City who come to Nassau or Suffolk, and they're unaware of those warnings. So there you go. He's referring to the people moving out of the city. And obviously we're going to get more of them as the crime continues to get worse. So water conservation is really communicating the value and also educating folks on why they play an important role with regard to sustainability. And Chris Alario, president of Liberty Utilities, which in January completed the purchase of New York American Water, which services 123,000 Nassau customers, and they're mainly on the South Shore, I think, but some communities on the North Shore. So the company has deployed 20,000 high-tech water meters to allow customers to track their usage. And Liberty said they're spending $35 million on the program as it deploys to 106,000 meters in the next 2 years. So yeah, this drought is getting serious, and unfortunately, people, they're in their own little world. They think it's not going to affect them, and that's a concern, because if there's a real emergency and they need water and the pressure's not there, that could be a real major problem. So last thing I'll talk about here briefly is the third track, which we're gonna go to here. We'll go to the WCBS story on the third track. Let's see if I can find it here. LIRR riders hope third track will improve service.
A new Chevy is the smart way to hit the open road.
But
go a little farther this summer in a new Chevy.
Just mute it. We're going to play this here. And yes, the third track is now in service between Floral Park and just west of Mineola. So
happening now, the Long Island Railroad will be able to run more trains with the addition of a third track.
The first section of that project is going into service this morning. CBS's John Diaz has more on what it means for commuters. He joins us from the New Hyde Park train station in Nassau County. John?
Good morning, both of you. Yeah, and as you can see right here behind me, a train pulling in here. Lots of people heading into the city. Lots of excited people heading into the city today. That is because they're hoping that their commute runs a lot more smoothly with this third rail. Now, this project, though, it is decades in the making, but really the construction of it just started back in 2018, and officials say the third track from service
I'm not
disruption.
Play the whole thing. That's not the one. That's not the one I wanted to see actually. Let's see. Might have been this one here. If it's not, I don't know where it went. But I did see a video on it. But, we'll just show you. We're having problems playing the video. But I'll just show you where it's in service. So it's in Floral, as I explained to you before, it's Floral Park to west of Mineola. So the new platforms in Maryland Avenue and New Hyde Park are now fully in service. And so and then they switch over here. So eventually they'll have the third track in service through Mineola. The issues, obviously, the shortcomings that I brought up already, that you're going to have eastbound mainline local trains on the westbound Hempstead Line track. It's already leading the Hempstead Line trains being delayed, waiting for mainline trains to cross over westbound Hempstead lines. And then you have the other issue that is related to the configuration at Mineola, which, as you know, is a problem because the Oyster Bay trains now have to switch east of Maryland Avenue, and they're going to take up that whole westbound track for a longer period of time than had they just switched over at at Mineola. So it's going to be, like I said, hopefully I'm wrong about all this stuff, but it just seems like things are not quite on the up and up, and we all know why that is. And no sense beating a dead horse. You know why. So that is going to wrap up this video here as we talk about some of these issues here with transportation on Long Island. And again, it does seem like the South Shore is, once again, avoiding most of this chaos, as they always do, so because of who they are. So that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.